Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm starting with Google Cloud Platform, and the idea is to reach from very basics to professional, and I will be taking the course through architecture level. In between, I will be introducing the basics. So by the end of it, you would be preparing for 2 certificates: the associate level, GCP, and the professional as well. So of course, first you should give this one. When you have cleared this one, it's better to give this one, or you can directly give this one if you're confident. So it works that way. So by the end of it, you would be a GCP architect. Now, Google Cloud Platform architect. Google Cloud Platform is cloud provided by Google, and you also have alternatives like one from Amazon and one from Microsoft, which are separate things, of course. You can handle all of the solutions from either of them, but we are focusing on the one provided by Google. An architect is someone who designs a solution, or you can say gathers the components together to form one building in terms of civil, right? So he needs to gather components in a technical and proper way to give an outcome. In our case, if you are a GCP architect or a cloud architect, we have some understanding of what we need and what we have, requirements and our current resources. So this is our end goal. We need to meet the requirements with our resources. This encompasses everything, like the human resource as well as costs as well as time. So this is what an architect does, to provide a solution that meets the demand. If you look at the description of what a cloud architect does with a simple Google search, you will find he's a specialist who develops computing strategies, which incorporates cloud adoption plans, application design, management, and monitoring. So it basically tells you what pieces of architecture does a cloud architect look towards. All right, let's assume we are the architect, right? So what would be looking forward to? First things first, what would you need is understand the business requirements, or you can also call it client requirements. What do they want? What do they want to achieve? What is their end goal? And what is their budget? Yes, budget decides what kind of resources you can use. Two things, so budget plus end goals. This comprises of their requirements, right? And this is what we have to meet. This could be in deploying their application to cloud, migrating data, or migrating their applications from one cloud to another cloud, or from on-premises to GCP in this case. Once you have understood these very well, then you can start looking for what is the technical requirement, right? If you're developing an application, do you have the human resources? Do you have the devs? And do you have the budget to run those requirements? Not just the human resource, but the compute power, the storage, databases, etc. Whatever seems suitable for this end goal, right? So you plan out the technical requirements next. Once you have this, next comes designing the actual architecture, and this actually involves drawing, well, using tools and connecting dots as to what connects where, and you simply get a sheet and start drawing using whatever software. One of the examples would be Lucid app, pretty common. And you start joining the pieces of this architecture and make sure everything is in sync and can actually work. Okay, so that's when the designing phase comes, and this is the most crucial bit after you have cleared these 2 points. These are the key points. Additionally, if migration is involved, migration is completely different from developing from scratch. So for migration, a separate plan is needed, and this has to be very, very secure, and making sure that nothing existing is affected and migrate. And only when everything is migrated and tested, only then we move towards this completely. That is only if migration is involved. If not, then we can just go ahead with these 3 points. And lastly, whatever a person, the architect, is designing, the future is definitely something to keep in mind. You can't design something that is running. This is not okay. You have to design something that keeps running, right? So you have your future in mind, and that includes few other things. How do you make it future proof? So that these are additional points, but yeah, you have to take care of these as on a spreadsheet basis and do them as an architect. When you start designing the architecture, there are few big things that you have to take care of. I would like to call them big 3. Of course, there are many other parts, and it differs from situation to situation, but these are big 3 that 99% of the time you would have to take care of them. First one is networking. So understanding of networking is very, very essential. How you handle the networking, how do you handle the VPC, what kind of subnets you create. This completely depends on the requirements, and this should be very, very efficient without wasting any IPs, and also keeping it future proof. So networking becomes the first primary part that you need to take into consideration while creating an architecture. And second is the storage, and when I say storage, this includes both the file system, the block storage, as well as databases. So this becomes the next important part, getting the requirements of what is needed and which service to use. That is one of the crucial bits of designing architecture. Which service to use, which is the most important one, what meets our client's requirements or our requirements. And last is, of course, the compute power. Now I'm generalizing here, but this could be your VMs or your app engine or your GKE. This is usually preferred, but depending on your application, all of them are great. But yeah, the compute power is the most delicate one when it comes to cost and decision making. So depending on the project, sometimes the project just consists of data, and then this becomes more critical. These are the big 3 that you need to care of when you're designing the architecture, and you should have an understanding of every service provided by GCP to properly allocate which service is needed for all of these pieces. Last piece of architecture, not last pieces of architecture you would have to keep in mind is security. This kind of is a subsection of networking as well as storage. So you have to take care of security in whatever you're designing. It's foolproof, so this needs to be tested. You can't just design it. This needs to be tested and then confirmed is secure. And many of the applications that you're designing definitely need to meet the compliance. This is of cloud and in some cases the government. So whatever you're creating should be compliant with the local laws as well as with the client. So you need to check for this, because once you create an application, you can't just reverse things. That will be huge problem, right? So always take care of compliancy and view the nodes, understand, and then go ahead when you're creating an architecture. Post architecture design, you need to worry about these two things. The system that you created needs to be monitored. That includes creating and extracting with dashboards with proper metrics, so any little detail is visible to anyone who wants to view, and the logging system should be perfect. This consists of a lot more than what I just mentioned, but yeah, what you created should be monitored very, very in depth. And lastly, look for a support system. So once you are done with architecture, application is up and running, you hand it over to them. What are they going to do when they have issues? So provide them with a support system, and this should be something that should be kept in mind. How do we handle when problem does occur? With this, you complete the basics of architecture and understanding what you're actually doing. We will look this in depth with GCP and discuss its services as we go. Thank you.